Brian.
Jason.
And this is the Perfectly Screwed Podcast. This is part 2 of David Berkowitz. If you haven't listened to part 1, please go back to episode 108 and listen to that one. So when we left off on episode 108, we were talking about when Berkowitz was younger and how he got adopted. So, as we said, he liked to start fires. He also suffered 2 head injuries as a child within a year of each other.
Ooh.
Interestingly enough, he got hit by a car when he was on his bike, suffered a severe head injury, and then he ran into a wall like a year later. I don't know much about the running into the wall thing, but I don't even know how you run headfirst into a wall.
Yeah, but getting hit by a car,
I understand that one, but
severe damage.
Yeah, I get the fucking hit by a car probably wasn't his fault, but the running into the wall, how do you run headfirst into a wall and not notice? Well, the wall's not going to move, Jane. I mean, hey, Dave, you know that wall there, it was talking shit about you, motherfucking wall.
Yeah, I don't, that's...
He was also a severe bully because he was bigger and heavier than most kids. He was also spoiled and very difficult as a child. He used to cuss at his adopted parents. If he didn't get his way, he was known to be violent.
You're not my real mom.
They consulted a psychotherapist, but his misbehavior never resulted in legal intervention or was seriously mentioned in his school records, and the psychotherapist said he was just a boy being a boy.
That's fine. That's fine doctoring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was the 50s and
True.
the 60s. I mean, sure, he lights fires and beats people up, but...
That's just a boy being a boy.
Yeah, sure, he murdered a cat.
Well, yeah, he went on to murder a whole bunch of people. I must have big diagnosed that one. Yeah.
Sure, he's killing pigeons.
That's why it's called practice. You know, we don't get them all right.
Yeah. Well, he was also known to torture his mother's pigeons and birds that she would keep around.
She had pigeons?
She had pigeons, yes.
Like carrier pigeons?
Pigeons is all it says. I don't know. So his adopted mother died of breast cancer when he was 14, which caused him severe problems. He didn't know how to deal with it. First, his real mother, he knew she abandoned him at birth. So he had some abandonment issues of that. And then his adopted mother, who he was very, very close to and was the only mother he knew, died when he was very young. And again, left him with severe abandonment issues. He also, his father's second wife, mistreated him extremely. His adopted father's second wife used to beat him severely, call him names. She used to call him fat boy and make fun of him because he was ugly and say things like that. So he hated her.
It's the blunt, just unoriginal name calling that really does hurt the most. Shut up, fat boy. That hurts, you know?
So he joined the Army at 17 in 1971, and he served at Fort Knox in the United States Army, and he was in infantry division in South Korea, that is where he first encountered a prostitute.
Oh, okay.
And as far as we know, it was his only sexual experience. He got gonorrhea from her.
So he was down with the Asian persuasion.
Well, he only got pussy once his whole life. So,
oh.
Right. But yeah, he bought a hooker in South Korea, and he got gonorrhea from the chick. And
that's rough.
Yeah. Which started him on his path to hating women. I mean, On top of that, he had his adopted mother calling him names and treating him like shit. His real mother just dropped him on his ass when he was first born. His adopted mother dies. For all intents and purposes, his whole life, girls made fun of him.
Yeah.
For his looks. Because Berkowitz is not an attractive fellow.
No.
He's very large and goofy looking.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he always was.
Yeah.
I mean, he was never an attractive guy, so I'm sure he wasn't very popular in the 50s and 60s with the girls at the high school.
Well, no, and the gonorrhea doesn't help.
Well,
I
he
mean,
got that at 17 from an Asian hooker in South Korea.
but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, from a Korean hooker.
Yeah.
So,
That's usually a difficult conversation to have with, if you're dating someone and the topic comes up before you guys are about ready to make love for the first time. By the way, I have the gift that keeps on giving.
well, I'm assuming
And
it
it
cured
burns.
him quite quickly, the gonorrhea.
Burns when I pee.
Berkowitz is said to have said that during his time in the Army, that whenever he would kill anybody, it would sexually excite him. And that he would immediately, or within
When
a
he
few
would
hours...
kill somebody in war.
In war, yes.
Wow.
It would sexually excite him, and within a few hours he would have to go back to the base and masturbate thoroughly.
So what was his... What was he in the Army, though? Like, what
He was just infantry. So, he was probably front lines. I mean, right there killing people left and right. So,
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So he said when he killed people, it did turn him on sexually, and he had to go back and masturbate thoroughly.
Wow.
But then he felt ashamed, and hold on.
Ashamed for masturbating, but not for killing?
Yes. He said it was dirty and wrong.
Well, yes, it is.
And he would flog himself. So he would hurt himself, like punch himself in the genitals after masturbating because of the shame.
Right.
And then that would turn him on more and he'd masturbate again.
God damn.
Yeah. Just saying.
That's the other thing.
Just
about
a little bit of problems
these
there.
serial killers have some just weird fetishes, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So he got an honorable discharge in 1974 after 3 years of being in the Army. He located his birth mother Betty after that. And after a few visits, she disclosed the details of his birth, and the news greatly disturbed Berkowitz. He was particularly distraught by the many array of reluctant father figures in his life. So, basically, she was a whore. And she said she didn't know who his father was because there was a large amount of guys just fucking old Betty, giving it to her. Just
old blowjob Betty.
Giving old Folko her.
Yeah.
So she goes, look, motherfucker, look, fat boy. I don't know who the hell your daddy is. I'm sucking a lot of dick back in the 50s, all right?
And not many of them were very good looking either.
Right.
So.
I don't know. There was a lot of guys in New York and the Bronx.
You are not the father. You are not the father.
I was just looking some
balls. You
balls.
are not the father. Right.
I don't know who your dad is. Sorry about your luck.
I was with many men, several, sometimes at the same time. So
it said that this and the details of his birth and everything shattered his sense of identity.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's understandable.
He attended Bronx Community College for 1 year. He went on to work as a driver for a taxi company. Then he had many non-professional jobs, and then he became a letter sorter for the United States Postal Service. So there was all of that with Mr. Berkowitz. Hold on, I'm still going through stuff because you know me, I'm never I've never put together on this. I'm just winging it, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta mind me sometimes, because it's hard because I gotta keep talking. Even though I'm actually trying to see things, I gotta keep talking. So,
well, when did he kill his first victim?
Well, you would ask me that after I just took that away. But, like I said, if I was more organized and not just being crazy. Okay. Okay, more, before we get to that, though, I was going to talk about his violent patterns. His violent patterns, when he was young, like I said, he used to torture small animals. He also used to torture pigeons. And he was known to actually one time set a cat on fire and watch it burn.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah. Now, why he did this, we are not entirely sure. He never gave reasons for, most of this behavior, though, happened after his adopted mother died. Like, setting the cat on fire and the torturing of animals really escalated after his mother died. And then when his father remarried, that's another thing. His father remarried, and then his adopted stepmother, whatever she was to him, used to treat him like shit. And then they moved to Florida and left him in New York. And just said, fuck you, and bounced. Never communicated with him again. So his adopted father...
Who did they leave him with?
Nobody. That's when he joined the Army at 17.
Oh,
he had to join the Army because he was just homeless on the streets of New York.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was 1971. And his father said, we're moving to Florida. You're 17. Fuck you and have a nice day. And they never talked to him again. Just bounced.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then in 71, he joined the Army. So... his first official murder wasn't in 75, but this is the first time he tried to murder somebody. Well, but before that, he set many fires, 1,500 fires in New York City in the mid-1970s. 1,500.
Holy shit.
To varying buildings. Yeah. Yeah. So he did that in the mid-1970s, like after the Army. So 74... he got out of the Army, so he set 1,500 fires before 1975 when he started his murdering spree, or tried to murder.
Damn, dude. 1,500?
1,500 buildings he set on fire. He's trying to burn down the whole damn city, man. This motherfucker just going around, let's set a fire. Let's set a fire.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah, well, that's the minor things that are insane with this fellow. I mean, you know, writing the things he wrote, you know, I'm the son of Sam and I'm sitting in an attic, la 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 la.
1,500 fires.
1,500. In less than a year.
Fires would be
in less than a year.
He was busy.
He was busy. Yeah. He attempted to murder a woman in December of 1975, but he wasn't good at it yet, so she survived. He stabbed her several times. So, she had over 25 stab wounds that we know of. So, during the mid-70s, he began committing violent crimes. He he fucked up his first attempt at murder using a knife. He stabbed her 25 times, but she didn't die. But then he switched to a handgun and began a lengthy crime spree throughout the New York boroughs of Bronx, Brooklyn, and Queens. All of his victims were young females. All but one crime scene involved 2 victims. He normally committed the crimes while the women sat with their boyfriends in parked cars. He showed that he enjoyed all his activities, and he was interesting because what he would do is he would kill these people. Then he would go a few blocks away. He would wait till the cops arrived. He would wait at a phone booth and leave little notes for the cops to find later on and watch as they investigated the crime scene.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he would leave notes indicating that he was watching them. A few times he was only a couple blocks away and would call from the payphone calling the lead detective at the crime scene, telling him what he was doing. Like telling them what the detectives were doing at the crime scene. Showing that he was watching them,
what was going on, right?
Watching everything that was going on, right.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
No, sick and twisted.
Well, but it's impressive because there wasn't any cell phones.
No. And, well, I'm sure the police had some type of cell phone or something, because he would call to either the dispatch or whatever, and they would relay, hey, this guy just called in and said everything you're doing is crimes. Hey, guy. Yeah. And he would leave him notes in phone booths and in different areas near the crime scene saying that he was the son of Sam and that he committed this crime and I see you, what you're doing, and things like that. Just as little taunts to the police department saying, hey, bitch, by the way, I watched you investigate the whole thing. I'm the one that murdered these two.
I mean, I can see, though, where he wants the attention. I mean, this dude got just left high and dry by his fucking dad, you know what I'm saying?
Well, see, that's the other thing. He did. He craved attention because his whole life he was abandoned. And not only that, he was never looked at as someone of authority or power because he was chubby, he was unathletic, he was unpopular, he was unattractive. I mean, breed serial killers right there. That's why bullying needs to stop. Because you're just making a whole race of serial killers.
Well, and that's why mothers shouldn't call their kids fat boy.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah. Well, it wasn't his mother. It wasn't even his adopted mother. It was like two mothers down the way. I mean, she just came in saw this fat, chubby 16-year-old boy, and she's like,
let's go to Florida and leave this son of a bitch here.
We gotta leave, man. He's setting cats on fire. Motherfucker's crazy. He's constantly masturbating.
I can't get over 1,500 fires. Jesus.
So he was 22 when he committed his first attack on Christmas Eve 1975. He used a hunting knife, and he actually stabbed 2 women in Co-op City. The first victim was a Hispanic woman and was never identified by police. The second was a 15-year-old named Michelle Foreman, a sophomore at Truman High School. He stabbed her 26 times on a bridge near Dercer Loop, and her injuries were serious enough for her to be hospitalized for a week. Berkowitz was never suspected of the crimes, and soon afterwards he relocated to an apartment in Yonkers, New York. And this was Christmas of 1975. So then, his first official killing was July of 1976. And this was Lori and Valentini, the Lori and Valentini shooting. It was in Phelan Bay neighborhood of the Bronx, and it was at 1:10 a.m. on July 29th, 1976. Donna Loria was 18 years old. She was an EMT, and her friend, Jody Valentia, was 19 years old, and she was a nurse. They were sitting in a double-parked Oldsmobile, discussing their evening at Peachtree, a New Rochelle discotheque. Well, first of all, look, they're double parked. Okay? Do you know what double parked means?
I do.
It means they pulled up, blocked some people in. So
deserve
first
to
of
be
all,
shot.
you deserve to be shot.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay? You don't be double parking, blocking fucking people in, being inconsiderate cunts, drunk coming from the discotheque, Look, that's how people get shot at 1 o'clock in the morning, all
I
right?
mean, that's why murders happen.
That's why. You probably blocked the motherfucker in. He came by, he's like, bitch, I'm trying to get out.
Right.
I gotta go places. You got me blocked in here. Fuck you and her. Bang, bang, die.
You're lucky. Yeah, you're lucky you didn't set your car on fire.
Right. Fucking damn. Inconsiderate cunts.
Pieces of shit.
Inconsiderate cunts. And then wonder why he shot him with a 44. Fuck. I mean, what do you expect?
Right.
God. Probably didn't even feed the meter, you bunch of bitches.
Well, no, if you're double parked, you don't have to feed shit.
So, she opened the door, Loria did, to leave and noticed that there was a man quickly approaching. She was startled and angered by the man's sudden appearance. She said very loudly to him, "Now what is this?" Berkowitz produced a gun from a paper bag that he carried and crouched down. He braced one elbow on his knee like he was taught to in the army. He aimed his weapon with both hands and fired. She was struck by one bullet. It killed her instantly. The bullet also hit Valentia in her thigh, and then he shot a third bullet that missed both women. The shooter turned and quickly walked away. Valentia survived her injuries and said that she did not recognize the killer. She described him as a white male in his 30s with fair complexion, about 5'8" inches tall, and weighing about 200 to 205 pounds. So yeah, he was a fat fucker, dude. 205 and 5'8". Shit, that motherfucker was a bit of a chunky bastard, wasn't he?
He was a chunky, ugly bastard. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
His hair was short, dark, and curly in a mod style. The description was repeated by Laura's father, who claimed to have a similar man sitting in a yellow compact car parked nearby. Neighbors gave corroborating reports to police that an unfamiliar yellow compact car had been cruising the area for hours before the shooting. Years later, Berkowitz admitted in an interview with journalist Maury Terry that he had shot Lori and Valentina. So, this was July of 1976. The next one he does is October of 1976. So on October 23rd, 1976, a similar shooting occurred in a secluded residential area of Flushing, Queens, next to Bowen Park. Carl De Niro, 20, was a Citibank security guard, and Rosemary Keene, 18, was a college student at Queens. They were sitting in a parked car when the window suddenly shattered. I felt the car exploded, De Niro said later. Keenan quickly started the car and sped away for help. The panicked couple did not realize that someone had been shooting at them. Even though De Niro was bleeding from a bullet wound to his head, Keenan only had superficial injuries from the broken glass, but De Niro eventually needed a metal plate to replace a portion of his skull. Neither victim saw the attacker. Police determined that the bullets embedded in Keenan's car were .44 caliber, but they were so deformed that they thought it was unlikely that they could ever be linked to a particular weapon. Because De Niro had shoulder-length hair, police later speculated the shooter had mistaken him for a woman. Keenan's father was a 20-year veteran of the police department of New York City, and this caused an intense investigation. As with the Loria Valentia shootings, however, there seemed to be no tangible motive for the shootings. So police made little progress with the case. Many details of the De Niro-Keenan shooting were similar to the Loria Valentina case, but police did not initially associate them together, partially because they occurred in different bureaus and were investigated by different police precincts. So, a month later, in 1976, so see, really, he could have killed a lot more people, if you think about it. Because he missed the Valentina girl altogether.
Right.
These two, he didn't even kill either of them. I mean, yeah, he wounded the dude, but he didn't kill either of them. So he was trying to do a lot more murders than what he did. He just wasn't very good at it.
Right. He just needed more practice.
He needed more practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Practice does make perfect.
It does.
And,
It doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you want to be good, you have to practice.
Yeah.
Now, here at the Perfectly Screwed podcast, we don't condone practicing killing or setting fires.
Right. But
We're just letting it be known
that if you're going to be good at something,
you got to practice.
right, if you're going to set out to do anything,
Right. If you
You've
want
gotta-
to be the best.
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Makes
Ted
sense.
Bundy didn't start out raping corpses day one. He didn't start out beating and strangling these women day one.
No.
He had to try a few, get it under
Ed
his
Kemper
belt.
didn't start out just gradually talking women into unlocking the door so he could murder them. No,
Right.
he had to really practice at this.
Right.
Yeah.
He had to get good at it. Yeah.
That
Before-
charm just doesn't come naturally.
No.
Of course
No. He had to behead a few.
not. Yeah.
Then he learned.
Right.
This is what we do, this is what we don't do.
Dahmer wasn't great at fucking corpses
No.
at the beginning.
No.
He didn't, know exactly what body parts felt good and didn't feel good.
Right.
He had to kill several people.
He didn't know what tasted
Yeah.
great until he tried a few.
Exactly.
Right. After experimenting, adding a little garlic, some onion powder.
Right. It's like any recipe.
Right. You got a tasty little meal. So anyways,
God, that's gross.
extremely. We haven't done Dahmer yet. I'm still waiting on Dahmer. That fucker was a whole lot of psychopath.
Right.
We haven't done Gacy either. I've noticed that too. We haven't done old Killer Clown yet, I don't think.
Ugh.
That's another one like to rate. Well, we might have done Gacy. I don't remember if we done Gacy.
I think
I'll have
we
to
might
look
have.
back. We might have done Gacy. There's so many of them
There is.
that really they could just keep me going for 30 years. I haven't even gotten to the more obscure ones, like the Candyman and others like that.
Right.
Candyman's actually interesting. Actually, I'm going to end it here, but I'll talk about a few more serial killers before we get off here. And then we'll do a part 3 because we're clearly nowhere near the end of this one. But speaking of the Candyman, did you ever hear about that guy?
No.
He raped young men, okay, and killed them. But how he got caught is he died. He was never caught. His accomplices were 2 young boys who were helping him get boys into his house and rape and murder them.
Wow.
And one night it became like he got violent with the guy that was his accomplice, and his accomplice shot him and killed him. And then told police where all these boys were buried. He was burying them in a storage shed that he was renting. They dug up the floor of a storage shed and found 27 fucking corpses, man.
Oh, God.
Among many others. But why they called him the Candy Man is because he used to, his mother or somebody had a candy factory, and he used to bring young kids back there and give them candy and let them play pool. And, here's some candy, young boy.
So this is where...
Yeah.
Was he the one that started the
Yes,
whole don't take
yes,
candy from
yes,
strangers?
from strangers,
Wow.
And he was called the Candy Man.
It had to come from somewhere.
Yeah. Altogether, they think he murdered like 30 young men. Yeah. Raped them and murdered them. He
No,
used to
they're-
tie them up, bind them, rape them in the butt, and then,
There are so many... It's fascinating, really. How many...
Yes, the amount of serial killers that are out there is
right.
unbelievable. Although, I've always said the 1970s and the 80s were the big serial killer hit. You don't have quite as many now. Something was wrong with that generation. Really fucked them up. So.
Yeah, it's fucking MK Ultra.
Yeah, something. Well, anyways, this is episode 2 on David Berkowitz, and we will get back to episode 3 next time and hopefully finish it off. But we will see you next time.
Later.